Asakura Riku was given everything he had. The Ultra Capsules were stolen from the Land of Light and repurposed. The ability to capture the little stars was only possible because of the Corellian element devised by Fukuhide K, Rem, the hideout, even his own genetics. Everything Riku needed to become a hero, Ultraman Geed, was provided for him by his genetic predecessor, Belial. It was this construction, this destiny, that K relied on. Taking the role of a writer, he framed their reality as a narrative, one constructed and absolute. And in his narrative, Geed was just another pawn in service of Belial. Even as he fought to protect Earth, the people of that planet feared him for his connection to Belial, for a nature he was not responsible for. Even as he lives a day in Leto's shoes, having seen Zero, an Ultra who is loved by the populace, he chooses not to change and simply become someone else. He is the progeny of Belial, and nothing can change that. It's for that undeniable connection that K continues to argue that Riku can do nothing to fight his destiny. Even taking up the mantle of Ultraman Geed, or inspiring hope in others to take power in the form of the little stars, it was all a grand construct, designed for Riku to fulfill his purpose in service of Belial. And yet, even as Belial puts all the burden in what Riku was given, that couldn't account for what he'd never had. He never had parents. Even the family he found was one he never quite fit in with. As an outsider, he was never comfortable enough to argue and fight with his older sister even when he disagreed. Yet even though his place in the world was awkward and unfitting, he still had those others. Pega was a friend who himself was an other, even if he didn't know how similar they were. As those of alien lineages residing on Earth, they could be together in their loneliness. And by connecting to him, Riku was better able to accept his place in the world. And even well before then, he was functionally raised by Moa, a normal human who left the most influence on him. Through a mutual love of the hero Dawnshine, Riku was given something Belial never could have offered: hope. The promise that things could be better as long as you moved forward. The power of having another you could trust and rely on. And for that simple hope, Riku had the power to turn his destiny around. Even if Riku incidentally was who he was because of his circumstances, those Belial placed him in, Riku was never alone. Like Rem, they were both constructed. But even though their origin was from another, what they made out of it was up to them. Rem might have had K's writing in her database, but what she wrote from that was all her own. Rem forging her own future. Not giving herself over to the darkness because she was alone, but that because she had friends she could defy her fate with her own power. Through connections with others, they themselves slowly changed. By moving forward, new things could come into view, something that could never happen if one merely accepted their lot in life and remained still and stagnant. Unwilling to make those connections, Laiha, the first human to possess a little star, had it buried deep inside her. In the pain and loss she suffered from the death of her parents, she would not connect with others or rely on their strength. Even alongside an Ultra, she still trained and fought, intending to be alone. But through over half of the series coming to know Riku and see Geed's power, did she finally open herself up and place her hopes in Riku. Though victimized by those she described as monsters in human skin, Riku was born of them, yet never fell to their ways. When saving him from Belial, she reached past the Ultraman outside, the nature Belial sought, finding his spirit within and reaching for that heart, that which Belial never could have given him. And the steady change in that heart is even visible in the transformations. By stating, "you go" and "I go," Riku separates himself from another before unifying both sides. In Geed Primordial, a boy striving to become a hero puts Ultraman as the you, the other, and Belial as the I, himself. For at the start of the series, the hero he aims to be is something he's not, while his course of action is well within the scope of Belial's plans. But through the steady walk forward, one that took him through so many trials and allowed him to encounter so many others, earning the hopes of even more people than Belial ever needed from him, he turned his fate around. The Belial capsule became you, the other, something else, as Belial's ideology and beliefs are ones that fundamentally oppose Riku's, even as he remains part of his genetic makeup. But the I is Ultraman King, whose will Riku inherits, one earned through inspiring a hope that Belial never could. Through Mega Master, Riku is defined not by his blood, but his spirit. No human can decide to become Ultraman if they aren't, but what they do with those powers speaks to who they are. By fighting his fate, Riku moves forward while K stays stuck. even though he had everything he needed to move forward on his own. For a brief time, he even does. Without Belial, he's lost. Having no purpose beyond what he's been ordered, he's lost for his hollow nature. With everything taken from Kay, Belial filled in what he'd lost with a purpose. A destiny he didn't have to think beyond, only think of fulfilling. Following one's preordained path meant one wouldn't have to struggle. By fighting his destiny, Riku is blamed for the destruction caused, even though the pain caused by not fighting would be even worse. Yet to Kay, everything that separated the real Riku from Kay's ideal is just trash. Wanting nothing more than to be of use to Belial, Kay needed nothing else. When Belial was gone, Kay was lost, until he decided to inherit Belial's will. As a Sturm alien, Kay had the ability to inverse the core nature of things, such as making heat cold. His utilization of the monster capsules, corruption of the Ultra capsules, was a natural usage of his powers, but even though in his DNA and heritage was a capacity for change, Kay never did. Though he'd taken Belial's will for his own, the moment Belial returned, stripping Kay of all the progress he'd made, the result of moving forward where staying still had gotten him nowhere, Kay just let it happen. Even though he'd found his own way forward, what he'd wanted and accomplished didn't matter. Belial had returned, and Belial's will was Kay's will. As Belial was responsible for the life Kay lived, it belonged to him. And once Belial was out of reach, Kay powerless to offer him anything else, he lost his will to do anything, never having the will to go forward as long as he was beholden to Belial. As he faded, Laiha consoled him, insisting that he was of use to his master, that he'd accomplished the purpose he'd set out to. Desperate for recognition from anyone in his last moments, and readily accepting what he was told, he was hollow to the end. The destiny Belial offered to both Kay and Riku was merely a sham, the outside appearance of an absolute that in truth was anything but. Belial can never see past his own beliefs of genes and nature. As an Ultra who took on Rayonics power from alien Ray blood, and later the Sturm energy from Kay, Belial's own genetic nature was something malleable as long as it suited his ends. By changing his nature, he changed his destiny, one he believed he couldn't fight otherwise. Though he fought alongside the father of Ultra, he was never recognized, and so he hid his weaknesses and vulnerability under layers of hate and rage. Spurned by others, he would always be alone. Riku saw and understood him better than any. Sharing the same blood, the same loneliness, the same inability to do anything, though he'd forged a path away from Belial, his starting point had been from a place both of them knew all too well. But as Riku reached out for him, Belial could not accept that anyone else understood him, even the one closest to him, because it was the one who'd fought against his fate as himself, where Belial could only change his fate by changing who he was. But through all that fighting, protecting the planet and all his comrades, growing through the bonds made with others, Riku still aimed to bear the burden by fighting alone, hoping to protect those he cared about by keeping his distance. Yet through that distance, those looking out for him would still come to his aid, whether he wanted them to or not. His desperate desire to protect everything would lead to others getting hurt at his expense. Only by seeing others fight their hardest to protect him did he see his friends matching his own feelings. And in Iru, he truly came to understand what it was he was fighting for. Humanity may not be perfect, but by working together they can protect each other. In losing Iru, Riku finally understands what he's fighting against, the pain of loss. And by understanding why he must fight alongside his friends, he was finally able to find the determination to activate the Giga Finalizer, achieving a power through his spirit that wasn't founded on the Ultra forms and capsules that Belial and Kay prepared for him. Reversing his destiny and surpassing the predictions of Gilbaris, Geed finally and truly becomes everything he wanted to be. Surrounded by his comrades, he was a hero. Once again, thanks to my patrons for their patronage. Flarbu, Maz, Mr. Cynical, Offline But Not, Thanks Nitrorad, Bayanort, Brorike, Gloogle, Mohammed Akeem, Tengoon, and Oliver Mort. Thank you for watching.